All right, and record. Everything's bells and whistles all the way.
Everything's
All
cool.
right. Well, I am Dr. Bridget Williams from Green Harvest Health, and this is the Wellness Toolkit. I'm excited to have this opportunity to talk to you today about one of the most fascinating aspects of holistic care right now, which is Reiki and crystals. So we had the opportunity to start this conversation a couple weeks ago with One Mind Reiki, and we are back to continue this conversation with Shai White from One Mind Reiki. But we're also bringing back the dynamic, the duo, right? Donna
Right.
Bell, who's the crystal specialist. And so I'm excited to get started and have this conversation. A lot of doing this, the Wellness Toolkit, is an opportunity to talk to the holistic practitioners that I see at events and around town, but never have the opportunity to really learn what they do. And I think some of you probably want to learn that as well. So welcome both of you. I'm excited to see you.
Thank you for having us again.
Absolutely, absolutely. So for people that were not with us a couple weeks ago, Shai, why don't you get us started with what is Reiki?
So Reiki is a non-invasive modality that helps you to open up to a greater level of energy. It actually enters your body through your head, it moves down through your heart, and it moves out through your hands. So if you are actually experiencing Reiki, for you, it's just a very comforting, warm feeling. It's like a big hug. Sometimes it feels like you're in a cocoon. But Reiki is a divine healing energy. It comes from the universe, from the creator, from God, from Allah, whomever it is that you have a belief in a higher system, a higher spiritual system. And even for those who don't really aspire or ascribe to any particular type of religion or spirituality, it is the energy that moves through every living thing, every animate as well as inanimate object on the planet.
Absolutely. So who are the best people to partake in Reiki?
Everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
Anyone.
Yeah.
There's not a certain type. You don't have to be a certain height or a certain weight. You don't have to be ill. As a matter of fact, I think it's great as a maintenance tool. It helps you. It's much like meditation. It helps you to relax. It helps you to, as my business partner always says, smooth out your frayed edges, so that you're more smooth all over. But yeah, anyone can participate and partake of Reiki.
Very good. So the one thing that really got me the last time we spoke is I do a lot of life coaching, right? And I am interacting with people. There's something just isn't quite right. Their energy is down. Their balance is off. They're seeing the world through lenses that just don't. They're not tuned into what they think their life should be. Exactly. And with our conversation, I felt that this was really key for people that are just kind of off kilter a little bit as well. Like you said, it doesn't have to be illness. It could simply be something isn't quite right.
That's true. So for instance, we eat a lot of fast food on this planet. We listen to lots of music that's not necessarily harmonious to our body or to our chakra system. We are stressed on a daily basis, and especially now during COVID. There's so many different things that can keep one's physical body and spiritual body out of balance. And what Reiki does, it allows the body to relax, and then the spirit is free to move forward and to become recharged, to rejuvenate.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I love that.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about the chakras last time. Yes. And so I was going to pull up some slides here that you were going to go over because we only got through 3 of them, right?
We got through 3.
Right.
There are 4 more to go. There's 7 chakras.
Go,
technically, there are 21. Okay. Some people say 13, and it depends on the spiritual system that you are studying or that you actually practice. But for all intents and purposes, we kind of deal with the 7. I think 7 is a very divine number, and it's a good, healthy number to help you to remember as you move forward.
Absolutely. Let me pull up those slides and we'll get into that part of the conversation.
Okay, that's fine. And so if anyone is actually here, and then we're here a couple weeks ago when I started talking about the chakras, one of the things I'm going to do this time is, as I talk about a chakra, what I'll do is I'll name the chakra in the part of the body. I'll give you a color that's associated with that chakra. I'll give you an element that's associated with the chakra. And then my business partner, Donna, will then tell you a specific stone that's good to use and to sort of open that chakra system so that it becomes more energized.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So you were in, wait, so before we get into that, and being that we're gonna, because you're not acting by yourself, right?
No, not at all.
No, we've got Donna Bell who brings it all together, right?
There we go, right on.
So before we get into the chakras and before we bring it together, let's learn a little bit more about Donna. Welcome, Donna.
Thank you. Hi, Dr. Bridget. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So, and just so that everyone knows, we have been waltzing around each other at events for probably the last 2 years.
Exactly.
If you've ever worked an event, when you get there, all you can do is work your part of the event, right? And so this is just an opportunity to talk to my friends that I otherwise don't get an opportunity to talk to. So I'm excited to have this conversation. Donna, tell us a little bit about how you got involved in crystal work.
Well, I've always collected crystals, even as a little child, rocks and stones from the Lake Erie shores and on travels. So when I got into it, kind of like what you would say officially, I said, I already have that. I have that. I have that. So it was as if the universe was preparing me for this my whole life. I always had an affinity for rocks and minerals. And for the last 25 or 30 years, I've trained as a energetic healer, laying on of hands, prayer, a Reiki master. And so moving into crystals as another energetic modality came very naturally to me. But I was drawn to a crystal surgeon who I met in Cincinnati at a lecture. And I began training formally at her academy. And that's where I've gained all of my knowledge over the last 4 years. And taking the crystal, I've had traditional crystal layouts where you lay in a cool, dark room and you place crystals on your chakras and let the energy do its thing. Absolutely. And she said, well, I've developed the system, and she's been doing it for like 35 years. And she said, I use the crystals as tools. And so that's what I learned, and that's what I bring to the One Mind Reiki partnership.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you can use crystals through Reiki. You can also use crystals by themselves. Is that?
Yes. Yes.
All right. And so, and then how it ends up connecting to your energy? Is that how they work, or how does it work?
Well, I'm going to let Shaid talk about the slide, but our motto is everything is energy.
Everything's
energy. Okay. Everything is energy. You are, your animals are, your house is, your car is, crystals are. Crystals and the relationship to people is at the same level as plants and people related to each other back in the 70s. There was this huge explosion of people having plants, people talking about they talk to their plants respond to the mood in the house, the plants help heal the house. And so what we experienced in the 70s, now people are experiencing with crystals. They say, my crystal appears to have a personality. My crystal appears to understand what it is I need. Or they'll use phraseology like, I saw this crystal and I was quite drawn to it, so I had to have it. Exactly. And that's because they're picking up on the energetic connection and how crystals help to bring about balance.
Very good.
Exactly.
Very good.
Exactly. See, Dr. Bridget, in a perfect world, we would all be in tune with everything and everyone anyway.
Yes.
So some of us are finding out that we have an affinity for certain things. And once you actually connect to whatever that affinity is, a lot of times that helps to open up your purview. So it shifts your perspective just a little bit. Imagine if you were on a sundial, and as that sundial changed, then your perspective changes. So anytime you connect to anything that's considered an energetic moment, that usually, if you're grounded and you're in tune, and sometimes it's difficult to be in the midst of everything, but generally, if you are grounded and you're in tune, the thing that you have an affinity for that's an energetic connection. So if you look on the screen now, it says the dynamic connection, and that's because we believe that energy is a dynamic connection. And of course, I can't hear you out there in the audience, but if you're viewing this slide now, just think for a few minutes what each of these symbols have in common. I'm just going to take a couple seconds and let you think about it before I tell you. And I'm sure if you look, you can sort of pull it together. You know, we have the flower of life, which is to the far left. And above that, you see a cord that plugs into a socket.
So this is, I don't know, can you see?
That's the flower. Yeah, that's the flower of life.
And then, okay.
Yeah. And so the flower of life, just going back quickly, some of these symbols are sacred geometry, and that's another conversation. But the flower of life is a sacred geometry. And technically, inside the flower of life are seeds. And these are the blueprint that every single thing on the planet is comprised of energetically. So if you had a high-powered microscope and you could look at your finger under this microscope, or look at an earring under the microscope, or a piece of cloth, or even a flower, at the very core and the essence of that thing, you would find a seed of life, which here is a flower of life, okay?
Very good.
So then you have the atom. You have the eternal spiral. Yeah, that's the atom, molecule atom, however you view that. You have fire.
Mm-hmm.
There's a picture of a heart, and you can see the electrical pulse that runs through it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a picture of the heart and the brain. Again, an electrical current. Mm-hmm. Now, I am not a physician. You are, Dr. Bridget. I've often heard that when a baby is first being formed, when the embryo is formed, that the heart forms before the brain does. Is that true?
I believe, as far as developmentally,
yes.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have the circuitry
exactly
before you get the intelligence, right?
Absolutely. There you go. So again, that's an electrical moment. This is an energetic moment. So then we have an atom. Some people would look at the atom, which is in the top right, very top right-hand corner. Yes, that's an atom. Other people might look at it as melanin, depending on what your background and your teachings are. Melanin is also an electrical moment, and that's another conversation as well. And then you see up in the middle towards the top, there are light bulbs, but they are connected to plants. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the dynamic connection here is that all of this is energy.
Yes.
Every single thing is energy. And it's just to give you an idea of how many things you can relate under each symbol, to show that they're all synonymous, that they have the common thread is that there is an energy current, there is a life force that runs through everything. So that's pretty much what Reiki is. Reiki is about your life force. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's about moving energy through your body, through my body, through Donna's body, through anyone who's a practitioner, moving it into a physical body, and then thereby helping to break down any energy blockages that might be in your body. So energy blockages come oftentimes when your chakras are out of alignment. So now we can move into
let's
the
get over to the chakras, right?
We'll move into the chakra portion. Yeah, right. There you go. So a couple weeks ago, we started with the root chakra. And again, you can see root chakra, the color is red. The chakra pretty much is out of alignment if you have issues with trust. If there is a moment of, even if you don't trust yourself, if you don't trust family members, if you don't trust the people that live in your community, if you just have a basic issue of trust, then your root chakra is out of alignment. And then Donna is going to tell you which crystal can help you to modulate that moment and move through that energy.
So I'm going to bring a piece of red calcite.
Mm-hmm.
And because the color is red in the crystal work that I do, we not only go by color, we also go by mineral.
Exactly.
So in my training, red or black
Mm-hmm.
is great for the root chakra.
So then how do you incorporate that? Is the person holding it? Are you touching the client with it? Are they taking it home? Like, how do you incorporate it?
Okay, so the person would be on a massage table and we get them comfortable in their environment, let them know that they're safe. And so this I would place on their, either on their leg, I can put it by their knee,
Mm-hmm.
and it would have an effect on the root chakra energy. And the same with this, because I'm going to put it in close proximity to the actual chakra. And the root chakra is at the pelvic area, but we don't involve ourselves in that close of a connection. So
Exactly.
it would go on
Keep it
the
PG.
higher knee. Pardon?
Keep it PG, right?
Oh
Exactly.
yeah, of course.
Always.
Of course. And so the deep dark red color of this is very good for the root chakra.
Very good. Very good.
Okay. One other thing to think about as we're talking about the chakra system is the chakras are shaped like wheels and they run clockwise. You're out of alignment if they're running counterclockwise. Part of that, when Donna talked about putting a crystal near a certain area, the chakras also sort of sit outside the body. So they're like cones, the shape of a cone, which might look like a pyramid, a triangle. And the energy moves through the wheel and moves into your body and out of your body. So when she says she can place it in close proximity, it doesn't have to necessarily be laying on that part of your body.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other great things about Reiki and about working, being an energy practitioner is it's the intent. So even if hypothetically someone did not want Donna to place that crystal near them, she could still send the energy and place the crystal in proximity to where the person is actually lying on the table.
Right, because the language of crystals is intent.
Is intent.
So even, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, but you're able to do this via Zoom. You can do this. Does it have to
Distance.
be visual? Does it have to be Zoom? Can it be over?
No,
Like,
and usually, and we don't do it by Zoom, we do it by audio only.
oh,
Because
okay.
visually it's still too distracting for the client and for us. It pulls, because our phones are electrical.
There you go.
So that's going to cause a distraction from the actual healing energy, because we're sending it by intent and they're receiving it by intent.
Exactly.
And so distance doesn't matter. It
No.
doesn't matter what continent you're on. It doesn't matter what city you're on. The energy will reach you if you want to accept it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So there are times where we don't even have a phone conversation, during the session. Someone might say, I want a session, and we'll say, okay, 7:00. At 7:00, this is what we want you to do. At 7:00, this is what we'll be doing. And of course, before we prepare any session, there's a process. We make sure that we smudge and cleanse the air and the certain things, depending on what is being required of us, because we both have a firm belief in our spiritual pursuit. So we might chant, we might meditate, we may pray, I may call on the ancestors, pour libation, whatever the moment is calling for me for that person. One of the other things that we do is we connect to that person's higher self. So if I were going to do a long distance session, one of the things that I do is I sit down and I go into meditation, and then I ask permission of that person's higher self to connect with them on that etheric level. So then that energy will connect with my energy, and then I can work through that. It sounds a little
lot
different.
of this really,
Very
no, but a
important.
lot of this really goes back to, we use such a small part of our brain, that we have such a limited understanding and availability of what humans can actually do and
Exactly.
possess. And Western medicine is definitely narrow in how we approach things. And so when you're looking at this, that it really opens up, really tapping into aspects of the brain and body, and like you said, the energy that we are not always aware of. And
Exactly.
so you're able to tap into these areas that are always there.
Yeah.
Just because
Yes.
we're not, some people are not in tune with it, doesn't mean it doesn't
That
exist,
it doesn't
right?
exist, or
And
that
what
it
the
is
work
not
you
a
do
successful
gets you
moment.
into that place. I'm sorry.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, and it doesn't mean that it's not going to be a successful moment. Some people have a very difficult time thinking that I can be in California, you can be in Cleveland, you're going to give me this session, and then I'm going to feel the result of it. In their mind, it's the distance.
Mhm.
And the reality is, it's just energy.
Mhm.
And the more you study spirituality and you learn about the parallel and the dimensional moment, everything is really happening now. It's a whole quantum perspective about,
Right.
Is there a past? Is there a future? What's going on now? So with Reiki, and even with the crystals, we kind of break through that barrier. All that just sort of falls by the wayside. We are in that moment. When I'm sitting and I'm sending energy, in my mind, that person is right before me. They're
Mhm.
laid out on a table, and that's how I'm working. And I work pretty much the same way I would as if I were actually in the physical
With that
presence of that person.
Very good. So
Yeah.
let's look at the next chakra.
Okay. So that's the sacral chakra. And again, as we talked about, that sexuality and creativity.
Right.
The color for that is orange. And then the crystal for that,
Mhm.
Is carnelian.
carnelian.
Now, carnelian is
Carnelian orange.
very,
Oh, you have
it's orange. Yeah. And a lot of people have it in their jewelry. This is a polished stone. I have raw, polished, and it doesn't really matter. But this is what I would put on their, like right in their navel area,
Mhm.
and it works with the sacral chakra.
So
Exactly.
this is improving, kind of getting in tune with your sexuality. This is getting in tune with your creativity. Is that?
Well, some people view the sacral chakra, and depending on which system you study under,
Exactly.
it will have kind of overlapping meanings for the
Mhm.
sacral chakras, for all of them actually.
Mhm.
They'll have overlapping or very divergent meanings.
Absolutely.
And but yes, this does deal with the reproductive system
Mhm.
for the most part. But you also have intestines there, and some people say, but the intestines fall under the third chakra and not the second chakra. So it becomes
Exactly.
a little bit of, that's where intent comes in, because when I place the stone, I tell it, I want you to work for the sacral chakra. And I
Exactly.
place the stone, and the stone does what it has to do.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So then we're now to the solar plexus chakra.
Yes, solar plexus. And that has to do with wisdom and power. So the lower three are about your core. These are the three chakras that help you to move into adulthood on some level, depending on the perspective that you look at it. Once you can master moving through your root and sacral chakra and the solar plexus, I also studied with a practitioner who was a neuroscientist, and she believed that the lower chakras were akin to living in the lower part of your brain. So the higher you move up, there's 7 circuits to the brain. For those who are not familiar, those teachings are by Dr. Jewel Pookrum. And the lower 3, she considers to be the reptilian brain. So when you look at your lower chakras, if you are out of balance and you have trust issues and your creativity is blocked and there are sexual issues, you have issues with power and that sort of thing. Those are very basic survival instincts. So those are out of whack. Quite naturally, the others that follow as we go up the ladder are going to be kind of out of order, imbalance, out of balance, that sort of thing. So Reiki and crystals help in realigning those chakras in your body.
So
So
you
after the third
purposely
chakra,
start
I'm
from the
sorry.
bottom. You purposely start from the bottom up.
Yes, because actually your root chakra is closest to the ground. So if you've ever heard the concept of grounding or being grounded, or someone telling you to stand outside with your feet firmly planted against the earth, whether it's in dirt or grass, that helps to solidly connect you to the core in the center of the earth, which that energy moves up through the root chakra. So even though divine energy pours in through the top and moves down, the universal energy from the earth moves up through the root chakra and it moves up. So it continues to help to empower you. So a lot of times before you do anything, people say, okay, let's ground. Even when you're doing yoga, you know, there's certain poses like the tree pose and so forth. Those help you to be grounded and feel firmly planted where you are, and that's where you get your balance, and that also helps to strengthen your core. So a lot of these energy modalities are kind of overlapping and they're interconnected, but they all serve the same purpose.
And
And
so
then, go ahead, Donna.
And so where the root chakra, it says, I am. Who am I? It's all about you. The sacral chakra is, and what do I do? It's about creativity and your place in the world. And then the third, did we get to the third chakra? You did the third.
This finished third, third chakra.
Okay. And so the color is yellow. And so this is a piece of yellow jasper and it's raw. Jasper is one of those minerals that's plentiful throughout the world and it's very inexpensive. And I always tell people, anything that you need for your balance and well-being will be plentiful and inexpensive, and it will work very well. The same with this stone, which is yellow calcite. And its calcite comes in a rainbow of colors, just like jasper. It's found all over the world on all the continents, and it's very inexpensive. And so the other thing that we do with crystals, sometimes it's by the mineral, meaning a jasper will always be good no matter what color. It'll be great for grounding. And the color will be great for a specific chakra and the shape. So when you talk about heart-shaped stones, you're talking about balancing emotional energy.
So you purposely will choose stones by shape as well?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So then talking about the heart, let's move on to the heart chakra, right?
So the heart chakra is the fourth chakra. And there is the heart and then there's the high heart. And of course, we know the heart is about love. It is simply about love. And if you look at Donna is showing you where on your
anywhere
body,
here,
that heart energy. You know, it says here that the heart chakra is about love and healing. I don't know that most people know that the energy of the heart chakra, is as wide and as long as a football field. So when you think about not being able to love or not being open to being loved, when you think about not being open to healing, that sort of thing, that's a lot of energy that you're casting out and a lot as well that you're blocking from you. So you can see how some people, you know, I've heard people say they've known people who've died of a broken heart, and it sounds kind of funny, but I know that when love is not allowed to move freely, because that is an energy as well, and you're blocking it, and if the lower chakras are blocked, then of course the fourth chakra is going to be blocked. I'm not saying that
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'm not saying by any means that if those chakras are blocked and you're having heart problems, that's the reason, but it stands to reason if you follow that thought pattern and the process of working with chakras, that they all have to be in concert. You can't have one that's going to be imbalanced and the others out. Like technically your third eye is not going to be fully open if your root chakra is blocked,
Right.
that sort of thing.
So when you say it's as wide as a football field, what do you mean by that?
That's the energy that you project. So when you hear people say love cures everything, love conquers all, if everyone got together and just radiated the energy of love from their heart, that would be it. Game over.
Nice.
That would be it.
That's
That's why it's so important.
And how much do we need
unconditionally.
that now? You know,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then the stone that goes with that, Donna.
Okay, so traditionally the stone is rose quartz.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can see it's a soft pink. I hope the color isn't getting washed out, but it's a soft pink color. And that's for the lower heart. Now, some modalities believe the color is red or gold for the heart. Exactly. And that's just a matter of how you were trained. Mm-hmm. I also use what's called rhodochrosite, which is a deeper pink stone, and it has a higher vibration than rose quartz. And some people can't really handle this stone. So it only comes out when it seems that the person is ready for it, because it's a very subtle but very intense vibration.
So when you say it only comes out, meaning that you only utilize that, or?
Because we do an energy assessment of our clients. And so some people can handle a few stones. Some people need a lot of stones. Some people need very gentle, soft colored stones. And it just depends on the individual, but that's the assessment we take before we begin the session, whether it's distance or in person. And so for the other part, like the heart is pink and green in my training. The higher heart is green, and so I'll bring out green stones, and this is raw emerald. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I would lay them on the body like this. If you're laying down, this is going to be above this. And your body will assimilate the energy from these stones. And I also will use green calcite on the heart.
Very good.
And it's because we work intuitively. Sometimes it'll be rose quartz, sometimes it's all calcite. The whole layout can be calcite.
Yeah. So the energy that you're getting from the person, and you kind of lean to one direction or another depending on what's coming up from them. Very good.
Yeah, and we listen. You know, a lot of what we do, as Donna was saying earlier, it's intuitive. So there are times when Donna and I come together and we sort of have our little session before we even speak with the client. And I will say, well, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm getting. This is what I saw, or maybe this is what I heard. And sure enough, as we're talking to the client and we're asking questions, whatever she or I have discussed, 99.99% of the time comes out in the conversation, which is confirmation for us that we really are connected to that energy and we know how to move forward from that point.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. So following the heart chakra is the throat chakra. And of course, that's communication. Yes. And it's blue, like a light blue. There you go.
Okay, yeah. I don't know how well that's picking up. This is a stone called celestite, and a lot of it is mined. It's plentiful, but some of it is mined actually in the Lake Erie Islands. And it's here. The throat chakra is here. 1 second. Sorry.
You're fine.
And usually I use this, which is called blue lace agate, and it's excellent for the throat chakra. Now, you all were talking about the physical manifestation or meaning of the chakras and how they progress upward in your development. And once you get here to the fourth chakra, the colors, well, they follow a pattern. And this is called Larimar, and it was found in the Bahamas, I believe. And so this goes in between the heart chakra and the throat chakra. And it would sit right where the thymus
Exactly.
would be. And this is what's being called the new chakra, that this is part of the times that we are going through, the progression of our energy, our ascension into a new energetic realm. It's kind of being compared to the Age of Enlightenment, when we have these huge advancements in knowledge or innovation, or like this is a huge advancement in, say, humanity. And this is the stone that's working with that. They correlate to glands. Your chakra system correlates to glands. And this one sits here, and this is where a new chakra is supposed to be opening to help assimilate the energy for this ascension process. And also aquamarine, not this big piece, but you can put this on someone. I have a smaller piece, but this one is great for the central nervous system.
Yeah.
And that's natural aquamarine. Okay,
so let me ask
thank
you,
you.
if you realize that there's an energy issue and you're using, you're doing the Reiki and you're using the stones, do you recommend that people buy those particular stones so that they are able to utilize this away from your session, or does that come up?
So if people inquire, I will give a recommendation and of what I would say to get. And usually I'll say, get a piece of carnelian. A lot of people say I'll get clear quartz, but clear quartz to me is so very powerful. And you really have to manage clear quartz because it's capable of so much. And it's an amplifier that if you're not staying on top of it, it's going to amplify all energy. And if you're having an off day or a bad day, you really don't want something to amplify that. It doesn't distinguish. It doesn't judge. It just amplifies. So if they're asking about like, I just need something to kind of keep me grounded, I get really pulled out of my body during work or whatever, I'll suggest like a dark colored stone. They're very grounding. Something like carnelian, something like amethyst is a good stone, but we'll get to amethyst.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So anyway, after we move through the throat chakra, and if you look at how these are moving up, you can tell that as you move from that whole basic moment of thinking on a survival moment, that you're just trying to make it through, and your money issues and power issues and that sort of thing. When you start moving into a more spiritual mindset and a more spiritual lifestyle, then you start thinking and moving with your heart and moving through your heart. So as you do that, you move through the moment of love and healing. Your communication changes, the way you speak. You're more purposeful with what you say. You're more intentional. And then you become aware. So once you move through the throat chakra, then you go to what is called the third eye chakra, but it's also known as the brow. It's right here between your brow. I have heard it called the first eye because it is an actual seat of intuition. This is where you really intuit before you move forward. And Donna is holding up. It's a deeper shade of blue.
Yeah, this is indigo.
There you go.
Yeah, this is, and this is a piece of sodalite. Just so you can see it better on camera, but this is this.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
I
just
see.
easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's easier to see the color in this large piece. And it's an indigo color, and it's very good for the supporting the third eye chakra. And so you've gone to love and unconditional love. And then this is the first chakra that deals with your self-expression as a spiritual being. And then you get to the third eye where you're seeing a broader vision of everything.
Right. So yeah. So now you're getting the view, the awareness.
Exactly. You'll hear the term that the veil has fallen away, or the veil has been removed, or even like with my grandparents and my great aunts and uncles, they would talk about babies that were born with the veil on, and that those were supposed to be people who were more spiritually in tune or more spiritually astute. And so it's the same thing that during a lot of spiritual moments, if you just rely on your intuition. That is the intuition. That's the information that comes to you that helps you make wiser decisions and wiser choices about how to move forward. And it truly is about awareness, because it makes you aware of all things, not just things that you're comfortable with, but the true awareness of life on this planet and life on other planets, depending on how open you are to accepting that type of information.
Absolutely.
Okay, so then the last one, the one that I think lots of people are very aware of for many different reasons, is your crown chakra. And it is also looked at as a very godly moment, that, you know, the crown is, that's the ascension moment. So it truly is about spirituality. And like most people, purple is that color of spiritual wealth and royalty and that sort of thing. And then here are purple stones.
So this is amethyst in the geode, meaning it's in the matrix that it grew in. Crystals are alive.
Exactly.
And so they need air, or they need to be in a medium such as sand or dirt, not plastic, because it won't breathe. And over time, you'll end up stagnating and killing your crystals. But this is a amethyst geode. And this is a piece of clear quartz. And so clear or amethyst is associated with the crown chakra. You can also use other high vibration stones. Like I have a piece of labradorite. And you can use a stone called moldavite, which is from a meteorite that landed on Earth like billions of years ago. But this is also great for the crown chakra. And just think of, if you can always remember it, because they call it our crowning glory. You know, there's always a reference to your chakras or to energy in whatever vernacular you use in your everyday life. When you say, I'm going toe to toe with someone, that's an argument, but that's third chakra to third chakra. When you're toe to toe, this is your connection to others. This is your connection to people, is at your third chakra. So when you hear that phrase, we were going toe to toe, you had a strong connection here, and most likely it was some very high energy going back and forth, indicative of like an argument or strong conversation. And that's so why people know it, but they don't always realize that you're speaking energetically aware.
Exactly. So that's the power struggle, the solar plexus moment that she was talking about. When people are going toe to toe, it's the, you know, bravada moment, you know, of who's better, who's bigger, you know, who's wiser, who's stronger, kind of a thing. And that's the power moment. So
very good. So I'm gonna, because I've been wanting to do this forever. Obviously, you're really here just teaching me today, because I just absolutely am fascinated by this and think that I have patients that would just soar if they have this opportunity. So I wanted to get this out there. The one thing that, from talking to Reiki masters like yourselves and crystal people, that a lot of times some people will incorporate CBD into it. And it's simply because sometimes there is that block, that anxiety, that they're trying to come in with control, and the CBD kind of decreases the anxiety, calms them, and allows things to flow a little bit better. And so whether it's yoga or Tai Chi that kind of calms the spirit, you know, a lot of these practices are incorporating more and more CBD, because they're not necessarily looking for that euphoric type feeling that might actually obstruct what you're trying to do, but just enough to open them up. So, and the CBD works not just within the endocannabinoid system, but actually works with every other system in your body, which is a great place to connect with all of those chakras as well. So I think there's a great connection there.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Part of the blocks in the energy centers, again, It's when you're standing in your own way. And
Mhm.
sometimes it takes us years to learn that.
Yes.
There are things that I do even, on a day-to-day basis. And I think about, Shai, if you just get out of your own way
Right.
and let this happen, let it happen organically, let it happen naturally, trust in the spiritual process. And that can be a difficult thing, no matter how well versed you are in anything. Sometimes you have to stop and stand back and let that natural process happen. So I can see where CBD would be a really great benefit,
Yeah.
to a lot of people.
That statement, getting, you're standing in your own way, is something I
Yeah.
use so often with patients and my life coaching clients, what have you, because that quite often is the issue. It's not
Exactly.
necessarily, everyone else's issues around us. They might have some, but most of the time we spend a lot of energy getting in our own way. And if
Exactly.
you can remove
Exactly.
that layer, then you can open
Mhm.
yourself up for success and joy and peace, which is really what Reiki and crystal work helps you provide and to attain.
Absolutely.
So
Right.
right here, you're seeing just basically a little bit about Green Harvest Health, where you can reach us. Obviously, you're finding us on Facebook, but we have offices in Cleveland, west of Columbus, and our main office on the east side of Columbus. If you, it says September 30th. Well, ignore that. If you are watching today and you're interested in partaking in CBD to help improve your own energy and get out of your own way, then you can use the code GREEN35 to get 35% off. I would actually recommend our newer formulation called Awakening. I don't know if you can see that there. That is a CBD isolate with CBG and has a terpene profile that people use it for calming. It kind of gets them centered and allows them to be open to the world that they are going out into, right?
Absolutely.
Right. Nice. Nice.
And then with One Mind, go ahead and tell them your new location.
Well, we are now located at 15644 Madison Avenue in Lakewood. We are in Suite 207. And again, we are One Mind. We are Reiki practitioners. We consider ourselves energetic wellness practitioners, but we are also we also do Reiki training. So if someone's interested in taking a Reiki course,
Wonderful.
if you're interested in learning more about crystals, if you are interested in just having a firmer understanding of sort of energy in you, how do you work with the energy around you and that sort of thing. Those are the kind of things that we have classes, we do consultations, of course, sessions, we're always open to sessions remotely. I think we're gonna try our hand in maybe getting back to doing face-to-face sessions.
Yes.
Very lightly on that. It's going to depend on the client and the situation.
Yeah.
But if you are interested in a session, at least good until the end of the month, our sessions are usually $150 for a dual modality, and we will be offering it for $100 up until the end of this month.
Absolutely.
But if they say that they saw us on this program, we'll drop that to $75.
Very nice.
Just say,
Well,
I saw you
there
on
you
Green
go.
Harvest Health, and
Yes.
we'll give it to you
Yep.
for
I
$75.
Then
appreciate
we'll give it
that.
to you for $75. So.
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
so that's what we talked about already, and that so you're
Yeah.
offering even a bigger deal. And if you're interested in becoming a CBD partner, whether you're to sell, to be an influencer, to be an ambassador, to be an affiliate, definitely reach out to us, because we have great products and our mission is to empower, and we want to work with people that feel empowered and want to share it with others.
Yeah.
And
And I do like the combination of, I use a non-THC CBD oil. And I don't know if I have my vernacular correct,
no,
but I
you're
use that in
right.
combination with Reiki and crystals.
Mhm.
And so a lot of people
Exactly.
who are stressed can use a basic, and we do consult with our clients about this, and
Mhm.
for things that they can do at home is to just sit with the
Exactly.
crystal
Mhm.
with the intent, and we teach them how to connect with their crystal,
Very
how
nice.
to find a crystal that's
Yeah.
right for them, and how to use it in
Absolutely.
combination with other modalities to bring about balance, because that's really what we're looking for, is balance, everybody. And
Exactly.
because once you're in balance, then everything just flows correctly. It just
Absolutely.
does. Yeah.
And there's so many things you can do with crystals. You know, it's not just for decoration, like a lot of people think. And even for those people that are firmly committed to religious texts, they talk about the semi-precious stones that were in the breastplates of those who are in the Bible, so to speak.
Mhm.
So
Right.
a lot of people think that a lot of things that we talk about and we do, it kind of has no bearing in reality, so to speak. But everything that we do are things that have been here since time immemorial, since the very, very beginning, from the
Right.
first seed, when the seed was planted, when the lineage was created, when the blood began to flow. There's always been Reiki, or what some people might know as hands-on healing, or people who had the power of the hand. And crystals are part of the earth. They have been here since the earth has been here. So
Right.
this is truly a divine coming together for those who may have questions about what we do or the efficacy of what we do.
Absolutely.
It's tried and true for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Absolutely. And if there's any doubt, these are the professionals. You know, from my experience, that this is an opportunity for me to learn more. And what I have learned from you all has definitely opened me up. I hope it opens up other people as well to consider that, like, if something's not right, there's other ways to go about it. CBD is a tool. Reiki is a tool. The crystals are a tool. And if you are only looking at one, you're probably missing the boat. So if you can start pulling these things together, listen to your soul, and then you'll
Exactly.
go in the right direction. Absolutely. So as
Exactly.
far as any upcoming events, definitely look on Dr. Bridget Williams' Facebook, Green Harvest Health Facebook. But I will say that we're doing another terpenes and tannins at our Cleveland
Oh.
office, but with chocolate, wine, and CBD, and learning how similar these three wonderful tools again might be,
Exactly.
and how they all connect. And so definitely look on Green Harvest Health and Dr. Bridget Williams Facebook page to learn how to register for that.
Perfect.
And I think that's it, people.
That's it.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
we're going to sum up here. If there's any questions, we'll answer them offline. But you all are wonderful. Like I said, these are the
Thank you.
professionals. One Mind Reiki. And I would
One
love to have you
Mind.
back, because clearly I still have, I could talk to you for another 2 hours. So, and looking forward to meeting up and doing some events as the world continues to grow and change, and hopefully get healthier as
Absolutely.
well.
Absolutely. So thank you for having us. It's been a pleasure. And
Absolutely.
if you haven't gotten a Reiki session, give us a call and at least try a
Absolutely.
session.
Absolutely. And I
Yes.
think everyone needs to do that. Everyone needs to give
Okay.
it one try. This is the Wellness Toolkit. It's our social
Yes.
media series. Thank you for watching today, and we will see you again in 2 weeks talking about massage and CBD. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
That was perfect.